Hello there, wrestling fans, and welcome to another episode of the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. I'm your host, Joe the Panther the Third, and man, everybody knows how much I love independent wrestling, and they know how much of a cosplayer slash little nerd I am. Today, my guest fits that mold and then some. I remember meeting this lady back in the day on Long Island at a really awesome promotion that I grew up going to, NYWC. Let's give a
Oh,
warm
wow.
Dudes at Ringside welcome to April Hunter. Welcome, April.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, so I'm amongst my people here, right? So nerd.
Yes.
I would say I'm a nerd with boobs.
Yeah. Yeah. And got red glasses, so it kind of like you kind of fit
Right.
the mold today.
Or with wrestling, a nerd with boots. There you go.
Yeah. So April, with my internationally known fans, if they're not familiar with you, and why would they not be? Introduce yourself.
Okay. Well, hell. I'm not like Nick. I can do this for other people. It's hard for me to do it for myself. So let's see. I'll go backwards. How about that? We'll go with the
Okay.
most recent. Most recently, I was in Kill City Cup, which is available to watch anywhere. I have published a children's book and I have a weekly podcast, The A Show, which, if you look up The A Show with April Hunter, it will come up. I have also, let's see, I started on, no, that's not true. I'm a cosplayer, a centerfold model, a professional wrestler. I worked kind of everywhere, from Japan to Impact Wrestling, and I got it started through Playboy.
Mm.
So
So you said you got started with Playboy, like with wrestling. Did like did you always want to be a professional wrestler, or was it just like someone said, "Oh, you should try this"?
yes, Ken Shamrock actually is the one who sort of talked me into it. I was working. I was doing fitness competitions, and I was working sponsored by Metrics, and we were sharing a booth. There's a bunch of us in the booth. And I remember seeing Rob Van Dam in and out of one of the booths as well. And Shamrock was working there this weekend, or that weekend. And he looked at me. He's like, you look like you could be a wrestler. He's like, you should think about it because you have the physique and the height and everything else. I was like, you think so? So he's like, yeah. He's like, I think you'd fit into. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. I thought I silenced that. Because I think you'd fit into that perfectly. And I'm like, oh, all right. Give it a, if I ever run across anything one day, I'll check it out. Well,
Mm.
they kind of found me after Playboy. They recruited me and then went from there.
Wow. So like who actually trained you? Was it Shamrock that trained you, or like was it anybody else?
No, I was actually a fan. I grew up like with martial arts, doing martial arts, watching it, and loving MMA. But so I didn't know anything about wrestling really. Um, I got trained by Killer Kowalski in Boston. So I was sent there by WWE. I went out and did a tryout, or I met them after a WrestleMania, and met their writers. And then they said, we would like for you to train out at Killer Kowalski's. I was like, oh, all right, cool. How do I get in touch with them? Like, we'll do it for you and we'll tell you what to do. So
Wow.
I lived in Las Vegas at the time. Next thing I know, I'm packing everything into a U-Haul and moving out to Boston.
Wow. Let's flash forward a little bit after your training. What was it like? What was your energy like the first time you went through the curtain for your very first match?
Oh my God, I was terrified. Um, it was, I labored over trying to figure out the right entrance song. I was having a panic attack because they wanted to give me the mic to do a promo. I had wrist tape on, and I had little notes written on the inside of my wrist tape to try and remember my talking points because I was scared I'd forget them. And you could see me standing there going, yeah, and da 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 da. And how could something that hurts so good? Wait, I screwed that up. Never mind. So
Oh
yeah,
no.
the whole thing. Yeah, I was a hot mess, really.
Oh, God.
So I was terrified my first
Do you
time.
remember who the first opponent was? Like who it was?
My first opponent was Amanda. Oh my God. She was no, this is a Kowalski show. My first official opponent, who I really wrestled, was I believe it was Simon Diamond and Dawn Marie in a tag
Oh
match.
wow.
Right, I know.
Simon Diamond. Wow, that's a throwback name right there.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
Simon and Dawn, because I had a tag team. I had Arch Kincaid, and we were a brother sister tag team, and so we wrestled them.
oh wow. So
So
like how many places you literally have you like you could say how many like places have you wrestled in the world?
oh God, I don't even know, to be honest with you. People show me matches, and I don't remember having done those matches or who the people were. I worked in a lot of different countries. What happened? What had happened was while I was at Kowalski's, ECW and WCW folded,
Mm,
so I kind of got lost in the shuffle there. So when it was time to go out and get my feet wet, there was only so much locally I could do. So I ended up going and working in Europe and Canada and Puerto Rico and Mexico, Japan, a lot of Japan. I was one of the only Western women working in Japan at that particular time.
wow.
So I think I was more known internationally than I was at home.
Mm,
So I
wow.
mean, I could be wrong about that, but I always thought it was ironic that I would go overseas and be on major television shows overseas, AAA and Zero One and gosh, you know, IWA. I would go and work for the really big promotions everywhere else, and then I would come home and work the indies.
Wow. So like with the indie scene now, like all these young like male and female wrestlers, do you ever have any of the like the younger wrestlers see you and like that they're somebody tells them who you are and they ever come up to you like you ever like give them any even like advice?
Um, if they ask for it, I don't, every once in a while I'll volunteer things, but for the most part, to be honest with you, I don't even know if the young ones know who I am. I'm not sure. I don't want to assume that.
Mm.
Um, but I would hope so because I certainly kicked in a lot of doors for the female wrestlers that were not there before. And I don't know how remembered I am for that, but I remember it and I feel it every day. So,
I
and I don't
remember
know.
you at the NYWC show. I was like walking through the tables and I was said hi to Tommy and then you're standing there like and I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" And you're like, "Hi, how you doing?" And I was like, "Oh my god, you're April Hunter." You're like, "Yeah." You're like, I think at the end of the interview, I have to go whip the picture out. It's like under my bed in a book. When we're done with the interview, I'll take it out so I can show you. I was like,
Oh.
when I found out I got you, I was like, oh my god, this would be so cool because she's like throwback indies. I love the indies. She's like me. She's a nerd. So like, out of all your cosplays you've done in your photos, like,
Mhm.
what was your favorite cosplay you ever did?
Oh God. Okay. So the first one that comes to mind is Punisher because I love doing the Punisher, and my costume fell apart. So I had that one custom made for me, and it just started to fall apart because there's so much um, stuff on the with the corset and everything. But I loved that one. Um, my Poison Ivy was a lot of fun, but it was miserable to wear because the
Mm,
ivy was just scratchy. Everything was very complex.
mm.
The Jessica Rabbit, wherever, even when I'm not dressed as Jessica Rabbit, people still call me Jessica Rabbit. So that's probably one of the more popular
You got
ones.
the red hair, so it kind of fits you. The whole.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey,
So
if you ever need a Roger Rabbit, I'm like 5'1". I'd be like a perfect like Joe. Are you going to this con?
there you
Yes,
go.
I gotta FedEx you something to wear. What do
There
you'll
you go.
see? And I open the box. What size do you wear? I wear a large and I get with the box. My mom, what did she send you? She sent me a pair of shorts. She sent me like
That's it. Just shorts and
overalls,
suspenders. There, and a bow tie.
suspenders
That's it.
and a little thing in a bodysuit. I guess I'm Roger. I always loved Roger Rabbit, so like
Well, who didn't, right?
he was
Yeah, but
hilarious.
the one I did recently that was a lot of fun was Keyleth, Critical Role, and that
Mm,
was deer, the antlers, and the whole thing. That was a blast.
It's
So I don't know.
awesome.
I don't know if people are Critical Role fans or D&D, but yeah.
So
Um,
like, if you can, like, if have you had a chance to like wrestle any of these like anybody now from the indie scene that like you would like definitely want to wrestle again?
um, one match that I never had was against cheerleader Melissa.
Mm,
So it never happened, and I always thought it should have. So there was that one that just fell by the wayside and was a wasted opportunity. I also worked Vesna Busick in Germany, and she's
wow.
very good. And I don't know if she's still wrestling or not. I don't know if she's in the ring, but that would have been cool to have done that a few more times. Lovely Lacey,
Oh,
Lacey, yeah, she was very good. Just very. I don't know if she was. I don't know if she was rated as highly as she should have been, because she was a very good wrestler, and she knew her stuff. So
so
yeah.
do you have any like really fun stories or crazy stories from the road that you want to talk about tonight?
Sorry.
It's okay.
So many. So many. If you've been
We got
following
time.
my
We got
blogs
time,
or my
April.
if you've been following my blogs or my podcasts, you already know some of these stories. You would have to give me a specific topic to talk on, and I could probably pull
I
a
don't
story
know,
from
like
it.
when you're on the road or like something that happened like before leading up to a show or something like that.
There's always a story that happens on the road or that happened before a
We got a
show.
microphone. Let's
Always.
do it, April. Let's
I
talk
know,
about
but
it.
you have to get like I've been doing this for 20 years. You have to narrow it down a little bit.
Oh God, I don't know. Like, I guess before a show, leading up to a show. I guess like that day, like anything like that.
Oh man. I'm going through the Rolodex of all the
Oh,
things
gee,
that we
I
there's
can see the
there's so there's so
these. Some of my fans don't even know what a Rolodex is.
I know, right? I know. Probably not.
What's
I'm going
that?
through the file folders in my head. There you
Yeah.
go. I've got to pull some out of the trash. They've been deleted. Um, I don't know why this one sticks, but I remember I was booked for a show in Virginia, and there were three of us, I think, driving. The two of us in this car at this particular time, and the GPS. We were in a very a mountainous area of Virginia or West Virginia, and it started to snow, and it started to snow really hard, and the GPS took us a certain way where we're going up this narrow road and around, 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 and up, and around, around, around. And next thing I know, we're in a spot that you really can't get out of. And the only way to get out of the spot was to go straight down, and it was ice. And the straight down led to a highway where there's a blind spot coming around and you couldn't see. And then there was a gas station right here. So that was one of the most terrifying, like, that I've been through. That was actually very terrifying because we're here. There's a car that was not equipped to deal with the snow, having to go pitch down an icy highway an icy, like, tiny little road that where like sometimes the GPS will get you lost in some kind of backwoods thing, some mountain road. That's what happened. And then it was night, it was dark, it was wintertime, and then we couldn't see anything coming. So it's
Mm.
like one of those, so one person runs down the road, looks for the semis coming, and then gives a hand signal. I was like, go, go, go. And then you just kind of hope you slide into the gas station across the way.
Mm.
And we were late to the show too. And it just, you walk in and the energy is just like, uh, the money we're making is not worth it.
You're like, I hope I didn't drop a doodoo in my pants for the
Oh,
truck.
this, yeah, it was just, I'm not getting paid enough for this bullshit. So yeah,
You got better be paying
yeah,
April double.
yeah. That we call it, things got indie-rific with the travel. So yeah, that was
Yeah,
one of the
indie-rific. I like that.
indie-rific.
That sound. I'm gonna have to like record your voice when somebody does something really cool on the podcast. It just had like an achievement pop up. April all smiling, going indie-rific.
Indie-rific.
you're indie-rific because you're like as I said, for me, I'm an old school indies fan, and you're right there because I met you. I met you at NYWC where I that was NYWC was the original. That's how I learned about the indies
Okay.
because I grew up with my grandfather being a professional wrestler, and I learned from my dad. And one of my old college friends, he told me about NYWC, and I was like, I don't know, independent wrestling. It sounds kind of weird, kind of suspicious. We went to the show, and I was just hooked from that show, that first show when I finally seen for finally first ever meeting and seeing Damian Dragon and Foxy in the ring performing. Then I meet you, and I met Tommy Dreamer, and I was like,
Mhm.
wow, independent wrestling's so cool because you can meet like all the wrestlers and people like
Yeah,
that,
it's more
like
personable.
just walking up to people, and you got, I think you even hugged me. You're like, oh my god, how you doing? I'm like, I'm Joe, nice to meet you. And I was like, this is so cool. People are nice in
It's
indie.
definitely a different vibe. It's definitely more personable. Yeah,
Oh, what's your puppy's name?
oh, this is my little foster dog, but I just actually recently adopted him because he's so cool. But he's one
Yeah.
of my fosters. So this is this he came here as Morty, but his name is Max. So
Hey,
there he is.
Matt. Welcome to the Floof family.
There you go.
That's
But
the Ringside crew is the Floof. The Floofs are the dogs that welcome us during the podcast.
oh yeah, he's my co-pilot here.
I had a cat one time during, like, we did a review of Ring of Honor,
Mhm.
and let's just say that the cat came by the girl and headbutted the camera.
Oh, yeah, mine will do that too occasionally. He's
Hilarious.
yeah,
So,
they all make their presence known.
so April,
Um,
do you collect anything?
uh, I do. Well, if you would see a bunch of action, like weird little action figures, like superhero stuff on my bookshelves. Um, that are like I have the Wonder Woman, the Artemis, different things. Um, I collect. They're not tarot cards, but they're where are they? They're my brain is I'm slow because this is like my fourth one today. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
geez.
Uh, they are just kind of like cool cards.
Oh, wow, that's
Yeah,
cool.
like little Divinity System fun cards. So I collect those. I have way too many decks of cards there. Way too many.
It's hilarious. I had sorry, I did an interview with a guy that behind him he had a wall to wall pops, just like on
Oh,
top of
my
each.
friends like that. Yeah,
Oh,
some of them are worth a lot of money.
I only have three in front of them looking at. I have Rey Mysterio, Zack Ryder when he was Zack Ryder. I have Ted DiBiase with the belt on his shoulder, and I have the one, the only Paul Heyman.
I've got about 6 or 7. I have Red Sonja with the blood splatter. I
Ooh.
have the Vikings, I have Ragnar and Lagertha. I have oh my gosh, I've got a couple others that are like Marvel. The Marvel. Most of all, people send me all the redheaded ones. So which
Probably
I'm
have Jessica Rabbit somewhere in that collection.
not in the pops, but I do have a statue of her of yeah, I do have one of hers.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So
Hmm.
yeah.
So, in closing, if my fans would like to follow you on any of your social medias, or if they want to buy an 8x10 from you, how can they do that?
Oh, that's pretty easy. You can find me. I'm super easy to find. You can find me on Twitter at April Hunter or Real April Hunter. I have 2 accounts. On Instagram, I'm Real April Hunter. On You can find me Patreon April Hunter, aprilhunter.com. Between those things, you should be able to find me. I even have an OnlyFans. Don't get super excited. It's not that naughty, but OnlyFans April Hunter as well. So that's mostly my cosplay stuff there. So,
Awesome. If there was any young male or female that wanted to get in the wrestling business to be like a commentator or a manager or a wrestler, what kind of advice would you give them?
um, let's see. My first advice is like, don't, because it's not what you think it is. But my real advice is what you're offering to the public is a product. So make sure that you understand that it's a product. So create your name and your brand with that in mind. So whether it's your social media, your persona, your outfit, all of that is a brand. So when someone criticizes you or compliments you, they're criticizing or complimenting your brand, not you personally. So don't take any of that stuff home. Don't take it out on your family or your friends or your significant other. Don't take it to heart. So if you go online and you read things about yourself like that, you suck, you're not attractive, you're awesome, you're the best there is, that taking that to heart or taking that personally can screw up your head and it can screw up your career. Matter of fact, it's easier to screw up someone's career with compliments than it is with criticism. Because if you compliment somebody enough, they're going to get lazy and rest on their laurels and get a big attitude. But if you give them criticism and you're kind of nasty, a lot of times that lights a fire under their ass for them to get better. So my advice would be to understand that it's your brand. It's not personal. Have a thick skin. Don't let it bother you unless it comes from somebody who is in your inner circle, who you trust. Then those are the people who matter. The fans, I'm sorry, but the fans' opinions, while they're nice, they do not matter when it's you, the human being, you, the person. So don't let that get to you. Don't let dirt sheets get to you. Don't let PWI stats get to you if they're still doing that. Don't let any of that get to you. Just keep your eye on the future and keep moving forward.
I want to thank you so much, April. I really appreciate it. I can't even, like, if I had a crowd, I'd make the crowd clap because I've
I'll clap for
been
myself.
wanting to have you on the podcast for at least 2
You
years.
gotta believe in yourself, right?
Got you. It's really warms my heart up because you were at the show that made me love independent wrestling. So
that's
thank you
cool.
so much, April. I would love to have you come back on in a future episode. You're a doll. You're a sweetheart. Which we can tell more stories because I feel like I didn't let you tell more stories. But
Oh, we can do it. We can do another one. And don't forget, and if anybody wants to see anything recent of me, I am recently in Kill City Cup. That is available everywhere. You can find it on YouTube. And it is a super cool kind of wrestling movie. It's an hour long. It's like you take comics and video games and throw that in with wrestling, and that is the end product there. And it's really different and very unique from anything I've ever seen or done. And you'll recognize a lot of the names in there. You'll recognize a lot of the people that are, from AEW, WWE, Ring of Honor, like all the, you'll recognize them, but everybody's playing a different character. We were given the opportunity to basically, really cosplay, have a good time with it, do something different. So it's a lot of fun.
Awesome.
So
again, thank you so much, April. I'm Joe Panther III. Your turn. Your turn.
I'm April Hunter the First.
And we will catch you in the next one. Good night, everybody.